Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm Joe Grumbine, your host, and I have back with me today Isabel Kirschner, and she is an incredible human being. I've just spent the last hour and a half talking with you, Isabel, and getting to know you a little more, and every time we talk, it just seems that we have so much more in common. Today, we're going to talk about Shirodhara, if I'm saying it right.
Shirodhara, yeah.
2 for 2.
Yes.
And this is a really incredible modality that I didn't know anything about until I experienced it a while ago. And why don't you just jump in and tell us all about it? Because most people, I don't think, even know that word.
Okay, so yes, Shirodhara is actually, it comes from an Eastern practice in the Ayurvedic world in India. And Shiro is short for head and Dara is flow. So it's a head flow. It's an oil head flow. So that's its originality. And Shirodhara is one of the most ancient holistic approach to pretty much bringing your body to a balance. And in Ayurveda, it's bringing our bodies. We're taught that our bodies are composed of constituents or doshas. You know, the vata, the pitta, and the kapha doshas. Those doshas each have significance to it. And so when one of them is off balance, and I'm sure you've experienced an imbalance in your body before. I certainly have. You know, when something's off, we try to figure it out. Sometimes we cover it up with medication. Right. Sometimes we overindulge in either physical activity or just other things, you know.
Generally do the wrongest thing.
We do. We really do. And this modality in Ayurveda, it just really brings your body, your mind, and your soul into balance. And most of the times it's our mind and it's our soul that's off balance, you know, because that actually affects our body.
That is so huge, because I try to explain that this is a show, it's about healthy living, mind, body, and spirit. And the mind and spirit is the part that gets talked about the least, but it's really, frankly, the most. And frankly, I think the spirit's the biggest one of them all.
Absolutely.
And who takes care of their spirit? You know, people go to church once a week or do their little thing, or once a year, if that, and then they think, okay, I'm good, and I'm like, all right. So definitely, I would say anything that brings balance is huge, and I will share my experience later on.
Okay.
But I can tell you, it definitely does that.
It does, and so this modality of Ayurvedic is just such a serene treatment that you've got to experience to find out. So the way that it's performed is there is a copper vessel. So you're laying on a massage table, and there is a vessel that kind of hangs over your head, and so you're laying on your back, and I get you pretty comfortable. I usually like to start a treatment with by grounding your body, because a lot of people they get so nervous or a little anxious, fearful, perhaps.
Right. Especially if it's something you don't know what to expect.
Yeah. And so sometimes people just don't know how to relax their mind. Again, it's the mind. We don't know how to shut it down. So I like to ground the body sometimes, either with aromatherapy, some sound, and just really bring your body just to relax into the bed before I start the treatment. And again, I use, I do I apply a lot of biblical practice to these treatments, because yes, Shirodhara came from India. You know, it's an Eastern practice. However, in the Bible, it tells us an anointed oil
Exactly.
is very, very symbolic. So it originated back in Jesus's time.
Absolutely.
And he was anointed with oil, and he anointed his apostles with oil.
Absolutely.
And you know, and other cultures kind of took it and, you know, started using it however they saw fit to heal people. And so
it's interesting that you're bringing that up, because I know a lot of times, you know, this show brings up all kinds of different, health practices, and from, nutrition and stretching to yoga and Reiki and all of these Eastern practices. And I get people that a lot of times are like, well, that's a bunch of juju mumbo jumbo. And it's like, well, it could be used that way, but an action or emotion or a practice isn't inherently anything. It's like a hammer, you can drive a nail into it, you can hit somebody over the head, or you can bury it and let it turn into rust. It's the same hammer. So I think that that's important for people to realize that these practices, even if it's mystical or spooky to you, these are just practices that have been used for thousands of years, and what you put into it is what it becomes, and that's what's real important.
Absolutely. And, and for somebody to, to have that spookiness about something and some particular practice, then don't delve into it,
Exactly.
But, again, it comes with whoever is facilitating this procedure, their intentions too, because, it is the spiritual warfare out there. There is a lot of things that are happening in the unseen realm, supernatural realm that we just can't see. And we do have to be cautious about that. So my intention and my biblical practice application to this is just God pouring into it,
Perfect.
anointing you with love and anointing the treatment. I set apart the oil, it's consecrated. I do a lot of prayer just for the oil alone. And then I pray over the person that I'm going to treat. Sometimes I don't even meet them until the day of, but I pray that God brings me the person, because whoever it might be, it's something that this particular person needs.
Right.
But this particular treatment really is because it's a head flow on your head. A lot of people don't realize how much we carry on our head. Yes, we're physical beings, but everything that we've experienced, the trauma
All happening up here. It's
of it,
7 pounds or whatever the heck it weighs. It's like it's probably 90% of all your issues.
From our traumas to our losses to our hurts to everything.
Everything, our desires, our dreams, our sadnesses, our joys, it's all
our feelings, emotion, everything stored up there. And so
right.
What this wonderful treatment does is, I lay you on the bed, you're facing up, the oil is pretty much parallel, about 6 inches from your central nervous system. This is also known as the pineal gland. I don't practice, chakra balance. I don't do none of that, but it's, this is the pineal gland. And so a lot of people also reference it as the third eye.
Right.
I don't know much about that to be able to even touch on it, but this is the central nervous system, so we're talking about the body. And so this is the point. And so the oil, when you're laying down, it's activating all these vital glands on our head. And so what it's doing, the oil is warm, and I stand behind you while you're laying down. I have your eyes covered, and I'm facilitating the vessel back and forth. So it's a warm oil, so it's flowing warm through your head, and I'm just facilitating it back and forth. I kind of let it sit there for a bit also, and just let the warm oil flow. And as you're laying there, because we have such sensitivity on our head, all these sensitive points, it starts triggering whatever's inside that, you're holding on to. And it's activating your hypothalamus, it's increasing blood flow. So that's a good thing. So it brings us a psychosomatic balance. So if anybody happens to be suffering from anxiety, depression, sleep problems, all that, that's a psychosomatic imbalance. So that starts helping, release a lot of these things that are flowing through your head. And there's just so many benefits to it. It also helps with I mean, it's a whole hair oil treatment, so if anyone suffers from hair loss, it activates the glands in your head.
Tell me about the oil. I mean, there's so many different oils and blends and formulas and combinations. What is I mean, and if it's a proprietary thing, you don't have to give all the details, but just you know, what is the oil? It's a
Yeah,
vegetable
no, the
oil.
oils, well, because in Ayurveda, because we're composed of doshas, um, each dosha pretty much requires a certain oil.
Okay.
Sometimes sesame oil, sunflower, coconut, and sometimes a combination of them.
So
Uh,
you make a special oil for each treatment?
what I do, it depends on the season, actually.
Okay.
I do add some botanicals. I do go to a local Indian store and I grab these wonderful packets of herbs. It's already a concoction made with different herbs. And so I do infuse some oil for a couple of weeks prior to.
Okay.
So you just really get more benefits of these herbs.
Good.
But for the most part, I use my two primary oils are a sesame, excuse me, a sunflower oil,
Mhm.
or in the summertime for more of a cooling agent, I'll use the coconut oil.
Okay.
So the coconut is just more cooling for the body.
Sure. Excellent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, if people understand, when only I had to say that because I'm a
Yeah.
formulator. So there's
Yeah.
like when somebody says oil, that's like saying music, I mean, it could be
No,
anything.
and I think I mean, you just brought up a great point too, because I think that's something that maybe you and I could formulate as well, like,
Right.
or even suggesting to me what other herbs
Right.
would be great to help with pressure, or to help, there's just so many
Absolutely.
herbs. But it's definitely infusing, these medicated oils. you know
Mhm.
I mean, we can even use the cannabis oil too,
Sure.
to
And the
really
thing that's interesting is when you're applying something at that level, oftentimes a very small amount does a lot of good because it's being absorbed by
does.
a larger area. So like for some things, you want a very concentrated dose of something because you're just gonna take it in, your body has to disperse it. But in this case, it's the opposite. You're getting a whole bunch of this stuff poured across your skin. And so it doesn't need to take on a bunch. It might be too much if you did. So just a little hint of something sometimes can go a very long way.
Yeah, yeah. And so as this oil is flowing from your forehead down into your head, I'm collecting it into another vessel. So it's pouring into another vessel, and it's just a continuous flow. The
Mhm.
session lasts anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. And again, it depends on the client's physical health. Sometimes people can't last that long. When I do retreats, I do 30-minute sessions.
Okay.
So it really depends on the client, and the time that they have, and again, their health.
Right.
But the duration of that's a duration. But the benefits of it are amazing. The feedback that I get from people is instantaneously. It's almost as soon as I uncover the eyes, I
Wow.
it's,
I can tell
yeah,
you that
because
from
yeah,
personal experience.
so that's what Shirodhara is. It's just a wonderful treatment. Some of the benefits I kind of have outlined here are it relieves stress. We talked about the whole spiritual aspect. So it opens up your intuition, your spirituality. If you've kind of been closed off from that part of your being, it kind of opens that up, it
Mhm.
opens that up, and it just really does awaken another sense that perhaps was asleep for a while. Let me see here. Stress, it helps you focus.
Definitely.
It improves your focus. Um, let's see, with sleep, it helps with anxiety, it helps with sleep. And then it brings those doshas that I had mentioned before that are imbalanced, it brings them back to a balance. And
Mhm.
so at the end of the session, well, let me back up just a bit. So
Yeah.
during that flow of oil, I also do, I use hot stones because your body temperature is going to drop. I apply these hot stones just to kind of keep you warm, and then I have a blanket over you, because guaranteed you're going to get a little cold.
Mhm.
So this really does help kind of, I mean, it feels like you're almost I've had people say that they felt like they were in their mother's womb.
I was gonna say, there's definitely I mean, obviously, well, maybe obviously or not. I don't remember being in my mom's womb,
Yeah,
but I know I was,
yeah,
and it was this. I could see where you would equate that for sure. It's
yeah.
very
And then
comfortable.
I also, while that's stimulating the head and relaxing you, at the very beginning, while you're kind of getting into this calmness, I also go at the other end of the bed, and I do a very light foot massage just to kind of get those pressure points from your feet relaxed, and
Mhm.
just to really get your body kind of soaked into that bed, just so you can really release and release everything you're holding on to, and
Mhm.
just enjoy this treatment, and just kind of go into a deep state of just relaxation. And that's where you can kind of share some of
Oh,
your
absolutely. I before I get into my experience, because I have a glowing report for it, but it- some modalities a practitioner can do for themselves, but doesn't seem like this is one you could do for yourself.
it's not. I've attempted it several
I
times.
probably would try it a lot, but I don't think it's not like
Um, you
popping in
know,
a sauna and just sitting there, you know?
Yeah, no, I do it on myself once in a while. Just
Yeah,
for me, it's more it's for the relaxation,
yeah,
not to get into a deep state like others
right.
do. I do it for more relaxation and for a hair treatment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna
I
say
do,
it's a
I
great,
do, I do go to someone to get my own, and to really
okay. Oh, perfect. That was,
the full effects of it. Hmm.
yeah, that was what my thought was, is you probably find somebody that knows how to do it pretty well that you can go to. It's
Yes.
like a massage, like, you
Yeah,
just can't massage yourself. It's not the same. Yeah. So that's fantastic. So let me share my little experiences. We came up
please do.
about, I don't know, about 6 months ago or so,
Yes,
or
because you actually came to Long Beach to
yeah,
see
yeah,
me
yeah.
when I was in Long Beach at the time,
Mhm.
and I know, and I think that I had already met you before, but that's when we really started to just get to know each other. I think that when
Exactly. Yeah.
you and Liz came out, and I'm sure you were going through some things
Oh
that,
yeah.
go ahead and share.
Yeah, yeah. So, this has been a trying couple of years, for many of us for various reasons. And for me, my health was I've kept good health through the whole pandemic.
Mhm,
But then I developed this friggin' lump on my neck
mhm.
that I'm sure is mostly stress related, because I had a business partner that completely betrayed me and robbed me of my life savings, basically. And we've had
Wow,
business
didn't know
issue. I
that.
don't talk about it. Yeah, but I literally lost my whole life savings from somebody I knew and trusted for 17 years. And it was really, the money part was a part of it, but really just getting your heart broken by somebody who you completely trusted. Like,
Yeah,
it's like having, your spouse cheat on you. I mean, it was that hard for me to
right.
deal
Yeah.
with, because I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, I knew this guy forever, and anyways, going through all of that and trying to, I'm always the guy that's trying to hold things up. I'm juggling 25 balls. I got 4 businesses, and I just am always this guy that's got to keep things going. And I'm also the guy that gets blamed for everything that goes wrong. So I've taken on a lot, and that's fine. I'm made for it. I just, it's my choices that I've made. But I felt like, in years past, I've gotten regular massages, and I enjoy that, and, relaxation techniques and sauna and meditation, and those things are important, and prayer and all of that. But this I didn't know anything about, and we came up to go see your workspace, and I laid down, and the first thing I could say is it was very relaxing, and you know, I'm I can relax pretty easily, so I fell right into it. You know, it wasn't like I didn't have to break through a bunch of tension. I just, you know, flip the switch, and like you're gonna get a massage. Like if you don't relax through a massage, it hurts. If you do relax through a massage, it feels amazing. So that
Yeah.
I got into massage mode anyways, but I'm laying there, and it was a very, like you said, when you got the oil flowing and the warmth of that, and then the stones and the pressure of the blanket, and like you said, it was kind of like I got that same sort of sense, like, wow, this must be what it's like to be floating in mama.
Yeah.
And it was very like you could just completely let go, almost like I thought it was like almost like one of those what do they call them, where you float in the saltwater warm bath.
Oh,
It was it. I'd never done that, but it seemed like that would be kind of what it was like. It was very. I didn't feel the burden of my own weight, and that was
we're floating.
yeah, like I was floating. Yeah, exactly. But then I got to sort of a pre-sleep state, a trance state, where I was now in a spot where I knew I could drift off pretty quickly, and I didn't want to drift off because you miss the experience. So I think I did drift off for a little bit, but I know that for most of it, I was sort of in that sort of pre pre-sleep blissful sort of state. And
Mhm.
that's, if you can think to yourself about that, like when you're really, really tired and you say, I'm just going to lay down and close my eyes for a second. And then you just go into this lovely, lovely place. And then you forget about it and you're asleep. But that moment of that lovely place, that was most of the experience. But then as it was happening, I got to a spot where all of a sudden I started to, I don't know if I'd call it a vision, but just see in my mind's eye, I was experiencing more than just a feeling. I was starting to see, and it was interesting. I literally had something leave me during that experience, and it was something that didn't belong. And I literally felt this dark gray something, spirit, let's call it. I don't know what it was. And Bonnie, you're not helping. Anyways, I literally felt it rise up and leave. And I felt the, like, you ever have a splinter or a pimple or whatever, something that
It's been bothering you.
something that's got pressure, and it just, it hurts, it itches, and then all of a sudden it comes out and you're just like, oh, wow. And I didn't know that I had this thing in me. And I wasn't like burdened by a dark spirit, I didn't think, but you know, I carry around a lot of stuff. I spend a lot of time with a lot of people. I try to help people. When you do that, sometimes your being open allows a pathway in, and whatever you believe or don't, I don't care. I just know what I experienced.
Yeah.
And there was some darkness that came up and left.
Wow.
And it was sort of towards the end of it. And when it happened, I was like, whoa, you know, because it almost pulled me away from the experience, because it was like, it was it was big. Like I didn't really talk about it because again, it was my experience. However, at the same time, I was I was I was moved by that enough to say, wow, there's really something here. And it was super relaxing. I felt as good after that as if I had gotten a full deep tissue massage or acupuncture, acupressure, any of those things. It was that amazing. So that, I very seldom do I sing, like I've had just about any modality tried on me, and most of them I'm like, okay. I mean, you know, a lot of things you have to do multiple times before you really get a benefit from, or you have to learn to relax through, or you have to learn, there's your part. And this,
Yeah.
I didn't have to do a part. I just had to sit there and it got done. I didn't have to do anything. And it was, like I said, it was that nice. Like that would be something I would say would be a treat that, you know, either
Wow.
for somebody who really needed something important, or just, the ultimate retreat. It
And
was,
see, that was your benefit, was that intuitive side. Like almost
yeah,
like you needed to open up that spiritual aspect of yourself.
yeah,
Because something was blocking it, and it just seems like now, from the conversations we had earlier, like now you're about, just love and this, all this glorious stuff that we now experience, and
right.
it just, now it's enhanced even more,
Absolutely.
it's almost like that was blocking you from
Yeah, it
feeling,
was
and
most definitely whatever left didn't belong and it wasn't helping me. So I don't know. I don't know any more than that. I just know that
that's wonderful.
it was definitely uh helped me on my path. So for
That's
that, I would
great.
say if whoever's listening to this, look into it, because I got to tell you, I mean, it's, to me, it was as nice as a really good meal or a really good musical experience, or just something that was really moving and important. So
Like a natural euphoria almost.
yes,
It's
it
that
was absolutely very
your
much
body,
so.
after this treatment, I'm sure you felt a little euphoric.
Mhm.
You felt relieved, you felt relaxed,
Yeah,
but because
I felt hungry. Remember, we went out and ate after
we
work.
did, we did. But some of the side effects, so to speak, which are very little.
Yeah.
Some people feel a heaviness, like really tired. Some people might feel giddy, like just
Uh-huh.
laughing, just feels so good.
Right.
And again, like how Joe experienced, they just might feel like that weight just got lifted off.
Mhm.
I have some of the feedback that I've gotten also is some people have gotten confirmations.
Yeah.
They're in a point in their life where they need to make a big decision, whether it's a business decision or any kind of decision, and they got a confirmation whether yes or whether no.
Huh?
And bam, that,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, this is a very intentional.
But that's the place where those things happen. So when people go into deep meditation or into prayer or into that, you go to the same place.
Yeah,
And that's what that was, a way to bring your brain and your spirit to the place where you can, you know, not have to be, I think what keeps those things from releasing is because you're always protecting yourself.
yes,
You got your guard up. You're always keeping your eye open for that thing that's
yeah,
coming at you. And when you can say, okay, I'm in a safe place now, I don't have to do that. That's when the healing can really happen. That's when the answers can happen. That's when your connection to spirit can happen.
absolutely.
Because, remember, it's that still small voice. And how do you hear a still small
Yeah,
voice?
we all have it.
Yeah, you just have to shut up for a while and not be busy. And then all of a sudden that still small voice gets a chance to be heard.
You reactivate it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And some of the recommendations for a post treatment is just hydration, again, because that head flow, that warm head flow, that's in the central nervous system. It's kind of, it's getting that blood flowing. There's stagnant toxins that are sitting
Oh
and
yeah.
it's flowing through your body. So I really highly suggest that just a lot of hydration, a light diet,
Yeah.
perhaps even afterwards, just to really take in more of those benefits even after the treatment, because you're going to feel, I don't know how you felt days after, but I get people saying for days, even a week up to after
I
the
think it
treatment.
was a permanent change. I think that, what I released has helped guide me to this day. I don't think there was like I mean, the feel of it was probably good for a few days for sure, but I think when you're doing a health treatment, whether it's a fast or a lifestyle change, you're setting the course. You're altering your course hopefully for a better, a better direction. And that's ultimately, like you were saying, your body is doing all the work while you're not paying attention. And when you put the right things and you get it aligned, it gives your body the tools to do it. I mean, who's thinking about their liver right now? Nobody, but it's busy working all day long. And how good is that happening, and those things that you're giving it or doing to your body or for your body, those are the things that are taking care of the parts that are taking care of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like you said, the right word is that alignment. It's aligning your mind, your body, and your spirit. And that's what all, three accord. You have to come back to balance, because I mean, I'm sure ever since then, like you had mentioned, you felt that weight off.
Yeah.
There's that spiritual side of your body that just felt so much better. You didn't realize because it's unseen. It's we don't see these things.
Yeah, you don't notice this, it's like we collect burdens and we don't notice them.
Yeah.
But
We're
then all of a
carrying
sudden one gets removed and you're like, whoo, I feel so good.
Yeah.
Listen, Isabel, I know we're on a tight schedule here and we're running to the edge of this conversation, but I'm really excited. Actually, now I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to schedule another one of these things before too long.
Well, we're thinking about doing a wellness event at the Gardens of Hope in April.
Yes.
So we could always come before then and treat you and Miss Lizzie, because she didn't get to do one last time.
Exactly.
And how wonderful to do these treatments in the garden.
I can't wait to talk about that, because that's a whole nother level.
Yeah. But with these treatments, I have my treatment room in Rancho Cucamonga. So if any of your listeners are interested in booking a session with me, I'd be more than happy to take them, and even offer a discount for a session. And if you're a practitioner watching or listening to us, I'd like to offer a discount on training. I offer trainings. I make my own Shirodhara stands, the whole kit, a whole training session. I would love to offer $200 discount for anyone that would be interested in getting some training and offering this wonderful treatment into their treatment room.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Isabel, it's been a treat. I can't wait to schedule another session and talk about more things.
Yes. Let's do it.
I appreciate that you're part of our family and our tribe, and I'm just looking forward to watching everything blossom and grow. Folks, if you think that this is an important show, tell people about it. We don't have any marketing budget. We're not out there with advertisement, but if you're interested in coming aboard as a guest, get a hold of me. And for everybody else, this has been the Healthy Living Podcast. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right.